Good evening. My name is Rebecca Talley, and this is Module 3 Leadership Management class. Title is Conflict Delegation and Motivating Climates. So so far part 1 is conflict between the RN and LPN. Ours was an interpersonal conflict. I did not feel that patient care was as it should be. So the issue was actually team nursing. This is way back when I first started nursing. We had one nurse, usually an LPN, that passed medications, did wound care, and then the RN was overall. She did assessments, she did care planning, and she did monitoring and review of charts, notification of physicians for abnormalities, and I felt that so the issue was the LPN would go around and pass her meds. The patient would make a comment that she needed something for pain, and she would instruct the patient to let the nurse know when she made her rounds. So I felt that this was inappropriate. One, the patient had to wait till I came around. So we talked it out between ourselves, and we came up with the decision that if a patient was to say something to her about needing a PRN, if she would please notify me, and that way I could prioritize and make that happen instead of the patient waiting for somebody to come around to tell somebody. So management of conflict, it is important to first determine the type of conflict and determine if it really requires intervention. As in my situation, we did not require intervention from somebody else. We dealt with it on our own. However, if we weren't able to work out that, then, it would definitely require intervention. So there are different types of conflict. The interpersonal, intrapersonal, that's when it conflicts within yourself, and intragroup. Conflict management is divided into categories of compromise. Compromising is when me and my LPN, we were able to compromise and come up with a solution. There's a competing type of conflict management where one person is trying to win over the other. Cooperative and accommodating, I feel that's what we did. Smoothing is sometimes necessary when emotions are a little high and we need to cool off a little bit. And then there's avoidance or collaborating. Avoidance is just ignoring that there's an issue, and sometimes that's not so good because it becomes internalized. So we determined the best strategy that we can apply to the situation. Ours, again, was compromising. And then our goal is always to achieve a win-win solution. Destructive techniques. Ones that are controlling or overtake the negotiations and are unwilling to listen to others. Ridicule, putting people down. Inappropriate questions or ambiguous. In the reading, the inappropriate question was during the meeting, all of a sudden it was like, so I've never understood how the heart works. That had absolutely nothing to do with the issue at hand, and that would be considered inappropriate question, something that would be misguiding. Flattery, sadness, helplessness, all these are manipulative types of techniques and are very destructive to coming up with solutions. Negotiations, so steps for resolution would be negotiations. So negotiations, it's important to follow the 3 steps. 1, you don't want to enter into it without research and knowing the issue. Determining what you're willing to give up, trades, what you're willing to trade, and then bottom lines. It helps you determine interventions for that. During it's important to remain calm and be patient. Be assertive confidently, but not aggressively. Good communication is imperative. And then after, you just want to make sure that you recap what you agreed upon, and even maybe putting in writing And then again, thanking everybody for their time. So delegation, my situation with delegation was me and an CNA. I feel like we delegate on a daily basis. We delegate to inform and encourage patient care. So instructions to patient care was the patient was incapacitated, almost comatose would be a good word for it. She required turning. She required assistance with pretty much anything and everything. So that was the instructions that we provided to the CNA to encourage her to provide quality care for the patient. So there are rights to delegations. You have to make sure that you delegate the correct task to the correct person for the correct circumstances. The right direction and communication. Again, the correct instruction would be a good word. And then their level of supervision is also to be taken into consideration. Do they require one-on-one? Do they require just guidance or observation? All these are their rights of delegation. So in order to determine if the person is right for the task, we want to make sure that we question if the assignment is appropriate, is clear communication of the assignment understood, the level of supervision is required, and appropriate setting and available resources. So there are times when we ask CNAs to assist us. However, they do require resources at times also. So their level of supervision is basically checking up on them. As a nurse, it would be important to round on that patient and make sure that the patient is being turned. Make sure that they are comfortable. So delegation errors, I felt that they were pretty straightforward. So if you're under delegating, you are not utilizing your resources and your support staff. You can over delegate and overwhelm your staff. They can feel overworked, tired, and decreased productivity could be a result. And then there's also improper delegation, delegating to the wrong person for the wrong reason, inappropriate timing, or asking somebody to do something that they are not capable of or licensed to do. And finally, we'll discuss creating a healthy work environment. As you can see, it is defined as a quality leadership, providing a workplace where employees feel appreciated and supported. Communication is open up and down the chain of command. Employees feel that they can make suggestions. Leaders provide direction, positive feedback, constructive criticism, all to build up the employees. And happy employees make happy workplaces. Components of a healthy work environment are employee empowerment. I feel that this is where we allow them to make some decisions on their own. We encourage them to make suggestions and ideas about improvements that they may feel that they have. We encourage them to continue. We encourage them in their life choices. Like if they're going to school, we encourage them to continue school. Encourage creativity and free thinking. Again, this goes back to the employee empowerment. And then rewards and incentives, that's a big thing. People like rewards, and incentives are motivators. So our current work environment is great. I formerly worked on a floor where teamwork was absolutely not an issue at all. Everybody worked together. If there was a crisis, everybody pitched in. Nobody, we felt that our acuity levels were comparable. We had resources, good physician staff. We were able to contact doctors when we needed them, or the nurse practitioners if that was appropriate for that patient. We were able to, we had for example, difficult IV sticks. We were an oncology floor, and there comes a time, when their veins aren't so great, and we had access to IV specialists. The physicians set up a protocol so that we could do order midline insertions if we needed them. So I felt that the work environment was really good, productive. Our boss was always available to help. She didn't hesitate to come back out on the floor. And most of our conflicts were communication based. We mostly, all of us, worked within the people working on the floor, and were able to come up with a quote win-win situation or solution. So these are my references. Thank you for your time, and have a good evening.